I think that the banks have always been very heavily regulated for a variety of reasons. But over the last sort of 12 to 18 months, we've seen a lot more focus on privacy, the personal identifiable information, and what all organizations can and can't do with that. So one of probably the more challenging aspects is the right to be forgotten. You know, consider. I mean, I've been in Asia for 30 odd years, of numerous bank accounts. So if I go back to Jakarta in the 90s and say I would like the bank to forget my records, where is that record? How will they find it? So there's a big change that's taking place around to understand where that information is and how it can be managed and reconciled, how the integrity can be maintained, and how, should somebody want to have that record deleted, that capability, or at least the effort to prove that you've tried to delete it, can be shown in a court of law. Well, I mean, so let's be clear. A lot of the reason for the legislation around personal identity is because the general consuming public doesn't really understand what is happening to their data. But absolutely, we all entrust our data to financial institutions our entire lives, from the minute you earn your first salary to the moment you want to start taking your retirement, housing loans, everything in between. We kind of, as a consumer, assume that the bank is going to do the right thing by us. I think we're at the point in time now where the bank has to prove now that they're doing the right thing by us. So the way they engage us has to be, obviously they're a business, they're trying to make money, but it's got to be meaningful to us as well. So the only way you do that is to understand more about an individual. So we start to work on a fine line between how much should they know versus how much do I want them to know that they can deliver to me the personalized service that I'm looking for, because we're in the era today of the market of one. I expect the bank to know what I want when I want it, sometimes before I know I want it. But how much information do I want to share to get that? I don't know. How much should I? So the first challenge is that there's no such thing as 100% IT security if you're going to be connected to any other organization or environment, such as the internet or mobile banking. So the big change we're seeing in the industry is, whilst there's still a lot of focus on protection, the new focus is on detection, understanding whether or not we have been hacked. I mean, there was some research produced a couple of years ago that said the median days to the discovery of a piece of malware, not the average, but the median. Some pieces of malware were living inside of organizations for 146 days. Here in Asia, that number was 520, so more than a year. And this malware is inside doing what it wants to do. Now, the world has changed. These days, bad guys don't need to put any malware in. They can simply, once they've hacked in, got access, stolen someone's password, scripts can be written that just live in memory, so there's no footprint anymore, and they can still do all their malicious activities. So what we need to do now to be secure is monitor what's happening inside our network. Is data existing where it's supposed to exist? Which, by the way, is a big challenge. Many organizations don't know where their data lives. So does that data exist where it should exist? And if it's existing where it shouldn't, why? Are all the identities inside that organization, and I'm talking about individuals as well as systems and machines, are they all operating and acting in a way that is expected? And if not, is that anomaly a malicious problem, or has someone just been promoted? So there's a lot more information is required simply than let's put up a firewall and lock the doors, because the bad guys are already on the inside. In 2017, IDC published a paper which we call Distributed Integrity. And the concept is that we're moving away from a defense in-depth strategy. So you can't build a bigger wall because the bad guys are already inside. And by the way, the wall has got holes in to allow for mobile and internet. So what we've got to do is start looking at the discrete parts of our business to understand where is the critical information for our business. What is the critical information the threat actors are trying to steal, because it's not always the same thing, and how are we then securing those independent, isolated components? It's no longer taking a roller brush with security as much as taking a small pencil and drawing circles around the bits that really need to have greater deal of protection and detection and monitoring, and applying that accordingly. But not just looking at it from an internal only, but also understanding what are the threat actors currently stealing. because that's a market as well, that changes. So, what are they currently after? Is it customer information? Is it credit card information? Is it information on transactions, commercial transactions? Is it stock information that they're trying to manipulate? So with a better understanding of what is the target, you can then protect those discrete assets at different times with different layers and monitor. Well, I think the key message is, first of all, we need to stop talking about IT security inside of organizations. We need to start talking about business risk and how IT can help differentiate it or ameliorate it. Because if we talk about IT security, it's an IT problem that IT has to address. But we know business email compromise is probably the biggest threat we face in Asia, and IT has very little to do with that other than they put the email system in place. But seriously, if you get a phone call from the CEO saying transfer 20 million because we've got a special deal on, why would that happen if you're not the CFO? Seriously. So there's got to be more education internally about, a little bit of common sense. Where does this actually happen? Where does it live? Engage the business more deeply, because if everybody in the organization is security minded, then the chance of capturing some malware, the chance of capturing a phishing program or business email compromise goes up. It's not always an IT solution that we're looking for. Sometimes it's a people solution. So our CIO, our CISO really needs to engage the business in a meaningful manner that the business is happy to engage with. That's the challenge, because the business says it's IT security, go solve that problem. But it's not. It's everybody's problem, but IT can deliver part of that. The business has to take up ownership of the rest that they can take care of.